ligament, okay, connects the coracoid process to the greater tubercle. So where's the coracoid process? Is right there to the greater tubercle. Okay, so, and then the next one is the glenohumeral. It's 3 bands of fiber, okay, thickening in the anterior wall of the capsule from the edge of the glenoid of to the lesser tubercle of the neck. Okay, so the coracoid process is here, and the humerus is right here, okay, and it connects to the greater tubercle, which is this part. So this would be right here, and the glenohumeral is hiding under there. Okay, here it is, the glenohumeral ligament. Okay, here's one that's very easily damaged. Is the labrum. Okay, labrum tear. You have one in the hip joint. So it is right here in this capsule. Okay, and it could, it's supporting there, and it could easily tear. Okay, bursa. There's several bursa there. Elbow joint, humeral ulnar, humeral radial, and radial ulnar. So humeral radial, humeral ulnar connects the humerus to the ulnar. Humeral radial connects the humerus to the radius, and the radial ulnar connects them both. Okay. Here we see the trochlear of the humerus. It goes into the hole, the socket, which is called the trochlear notch of the ulnar, and that's how they form this flexion and extension movement, the hinge joint. Okay, and there's another ligament to remember. This one is called the annular ligament. Let's see where it is. Is right there, the annular ligament. It helps with pronation and supination. Do you remember turning the palm down and up? Okay. Ulnar collateral ligament. Okay. So the lateral epicondyle is the outside of the elbow. Okay, the outside of the elbow. Olecranon process is the pointy part of, let's see, right there, the olecranon process, one of the hardest part of the bone. Okay, radial collateral ligament extend between the lateral epicondyle, okay, lateral epicondyle, and the annular ligament of the radius. The ulnar one, right here, ulnar collateral ligament, in the medial wall, so it's the medial side, connect the medial epicondyle to the coronoid process of the ulnar and the olecranon process. Now, don't forget, we have several bones called the coracoid process. So don't get them confused. This is called the coronoid process. Okay, coronoid. Hip joint, again, it's a ball and socket. Okay, ball and socket. And remember, we also have a labrum in there. Okay, similar to the shoulder. Some of the ligaments to remember: iliofemoral. So femoral is the femur. Ilio is the ilium. Connects the anterior inferior iliac spine, so the AIIS, to the line that extends between the greater and lesser trochanter. Okay. As you remember in the coxa, okay, there is the PSIS, there's a PIIS, there is the AIIS, ASIS. So this is a AIIS. Okay. So it's extend between the greater and lesser trochanter, okay. The ischiofemoral one, so this is the posterior part, the ischiofemoral, originate at the ischium, which is down here, posterior to the acetabulum, okay, so it's right there. Pubofemoral, extend between the superior portion of the pubis and the ilioferal ligament, okay, right there. The knee joint, we saw the meniscus earlier, the C-shaped meniscus. So with a lot of compression, sometimes these will fracture. Okay, some of you know what the meniscus tear and all that. Okay, here are the cruciate ligaments. So let's see what we need to learn. Patellar ligament, extend from the margin of the patella to the tibial tuberosity. So here's the tibia. Remember this little bone here is the fibula. Okay, so here's the patella ligament. Okay, oblique popliteal. Popliteal is the back of the knee. Okay, it's called the popliteal. Oblique popliteal connects to the lateral condyle of the femur to the margin of the head of the tibia. So we got to find the lateral condyle. Where's the lateral condyle? Lateral condyle is on the outside. Okay, the medial condyle is on the medial side. Lateral condyle to the head of the tibia. Okay, that's the oblique popliteal ligament. Okay, medial to the tibia. Arcuate Y-shape system. Fiber extend from the lateral condyle of the femur to the head of the fibula. So here's the fibula. Okay, here's that Y-shaped ligament. We are almost done. Hang in there. I know there's a lot of ligaments. Tibial collateral connects the medial condyle to the femur. Where's the medial condyle? Medial condyle to the femur, to the medial condyle of the tibia. So here is the tibial collateral ligament, and this one on the opposite side would be the fibular collateral ligament, and we already saw some of these cruciate ligament. It's a cross shape. One is anterior cruciate, one is posterior cruciate, which can also fracture, tear in a lot of these athletes. So here's the anterior cruciate, here's the posterior cruciate. Meniscus is the pads we saw, okay, and some of the bursa. You have supra patella, so it's on top of the patella, pre-patella, and then infrapatella bursa. On the foot, talocrural joint. Remember, this is the talus. It's a uniaxial. It's a hinge joint for dorsiflexion and plantar flexion. Remember, dorsiflexion is pointing the toes up. Plantar flexion is pointing the toes down. Subtalar. So underneath the talar, okay, which is the talus right there. Between the talus and the calcaneus is right there, that bone. Okay, here is the talus, calcaneus. So in between the talus and the calcaneus are for inversion and eversion. Remember, inversion, okay, eversion like this, inversion. Okay, it turns the foot in and out. Ligament go from the medial to the lateral malleolus to the calcaneal talus, prevent excessive movement of the foot. It's for stability. Yeah, just a review of these. Synarthrosis, not movements, little movements, and all movements, and different types of joints, fibrous joints, and each fibrous joint could have these kind of characteristics. Cartilaginous joint can have these kind of characteristics, and synovial joints, we saw 6 of them. Hinge joint and all that, plane. Okay, so make sure you go back and review.